Felicia. How are you today?
Good. Hi, Misha. I love the rhyming names. Misha, Felicia.
Felicia, hey, that's us. And we look cute.
Party.
Yay. So today is all about you. You're in.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're in New York, right?
I'm in New York. Yes, it's finally getting sunny. There was the storm coming up the coast.
That's pretty much, I'm in Ohio. So yeah, that's pretty much how it is here. It's really gloomy outside. I wanted to go party, but because I look so cute, but can't. Yeah, so you're a talent booker in New York at the West Side Comedy Club. And you guys are doing outdoor comedy shows, and I love it. I love that. And you were in the rain.
Yes, we were trying. I co-produce a show with a friend of mine who actually, our family's from Ohio, called HinJews. She's Hindu, I'm Jewish, we call it HinJews. And we had our first show planned on the steps of the Met, and there was a major monsoon, I'd say. Not rain, it was like a major monsoon. So we made the best of it, and we had fun.
That is awesome. So do you have
so much for outdoor comedy?
And you book the shows for your comedy club?
Yes, I've been booking for West Side Comedy Club. I started the beginning of this year, and we got shut down mid-March due to COVID. So I took everything online, and since West Side Comedy Club is technically closed until further notice, I have something called F Comedy Club, which is my new talent program, and I created an online comedy club called F Comedy Club, and I produce shows, talk shows, game shows, and I have outside F Comics and West Side Comedy Comics produce their own shows on it. So
nice.
It's purely all online, and it's been interesting. They're Zoom shows, which are fun but challenging.
Don't I know? Don't I know? And then I see you have a girls' night as well. I'm sure that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, now we're trying to. I try to look for, a lot of charities that are now are not going to be able to have fundraisers live or doing them online, and so I've done a few of those. And we did one of them was a girls' night in. We call it girls' night in, and we raise money for charities and have fun, and it's all good.
That is awesome because you're keeping busy. I see you're keeping it moving. I love that you're being creative, and then you have your team. And I can tell they're loyal, and they're out there in the rain performing, and that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The comedy community in general has been very resilient and very creative on keeping opportunities open and keeping it going. And it's super difficult. It's very difficult for the comedy community.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I could do whatever I can to help them.
Yeah. Do you have any plans for reopening in 2020? Yeah, you think you'll be closed the rest of this year, probably?
I think it's I think some clubs might open before the new year, but it will be tight, so I don't think we're going to rush it. And I think we'll probably wait to the new year because who knows what's going to happen in the new year. So why rehire, get ready, and then just have to be shut down in a month.
Yeah, I completely understand that. But you're making it work with the Zoom and outdoor comedy.
I think this is going to be our reality for longer than we think. And even when we do go back into the clubs, there's so many things that I like about online comedy that I think it's here to stay in a certain shape and form. I mean, I run open mics for my up-and-coming comics, and we've been really enjoying them. They've been really there. I mean, there's nothing like being there in person, but online open mics have a purpose, and I definitely will continue them even when we get back in the club.
Mm-hmm.
And I've created a lot of game show, talk show. I'm working on a particular talk show now that I'm really excited about. It's sort of like a dream of mine, which is launching this week. And that can stay on, obviously that can't translate to a club, so that will stay online and hopefully one day get picked up and actually be on TV. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I'm sure that's going to happen for you.
I hope so. Yeah.
You're a hard worker. Everything works out when you're a hard worker.
I hope so. They always say, the expression is do what you love and the money will follow. Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing what I love.
Where's the beef?
Where's the money?
Yeah. So
much for that expression.
Do you have a mentor or someone that you enjoy working with to help you move forward?
I work with a lot of people at my club, and my co-partner in HinJews it's funny. I got her started in stand-up. First time ever on stage for her was with me on F Comedy, and she's like really skyrocketed, and I've helped her and guided her, and she's guided me in a lot of ways because she's a very savvy business person. So the two of us have been a really good team. And I'm trying to think anyone else I have like a lot of people, like Clayton Fletcher is a real mentor of mine. He does a lot at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club, and I've worked with him a lot. He's an amazing teacher. And Joe DeVito, Corey Kahaney are all comedians that have inspired me. So yeah, but in terms of my inspiration moving forward with all this, I really feel I've been really walking down my own path with a lot of this stuff, sort of charging down a different road than the traditional comedy road.
Nice.
So in that respect, I don't really have any mentors.
Understandable. Completely. So yeah. I'm curious to know, is there any comedian that you cannot wait to work with one day, someday soon?
Well, I would have liked to work with Joan Rivers, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. You know, one of my new favorites, I've worked with a lot. I've worked with almost all the stand-ups in New York. I know Chelsea Handler is going around and doing a lot of shows, and it'd be a thrill just to meet her and even like interview her, talk to her. Opening for her would be a dream. I love Ellen DeGeneres. Even though she's being raked through the coals right now, I still love her. And one of my new favorites that I love, I mean, she's been around and it's very popular, is Taylor Tomlinson. I just think she's like super cute, and like if I had started out when I was young, I feel like my comedy would be very similar to hers.
Taylor Tomlinson. Okay.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That name sounds very familiar. But once I see her face, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. She does a lot of like dating and dating jokes and stuff like that. So outside of my realm, I can't do it. I mean, I can't remember what it was like to date to even do a joke about dating. I do the old married jokes. Those are my my area of expertise.
Mm-hmm. Are you getting into TikTok videos? And
you know, it's funny. I just posted a TikTok. I just started, and I posted this one TikTok video has like 140,000 views already.
Nice.
And you know, I've a lot of other ones that I posted that have like, you know, a couple thousand, and I'm like, wow, like why is this one video just skyrocketing? And it's about Ambien, so apparently we're very drug addict. So I've decided to tailor all my comedy around drugs from now on.
That's an attention getter.
It seems to be working on TikTok. I don't know. Maybe I don't think it's owned by the Chinese. I think it's owned by the drug cartels.
That's why they're really trying to shut it down.
Yeah. So no rhyme or reason, but it's fun, you know, because in today's day and age, I think that's why people actually like TikTok. Because like, I feel like social media is so overdone that it's just hard to make any inroads and gain any followership on it. And TikTok just seems to be like unreal, and it's just fun. Like 140,000 views. Wow, that's amazing.
That is amazing. I need to figure. I have not done one video, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm so old school. I need to get with the times, and that's one of the things I'm learning right now. And so I need to figure out how to do a TikTok video. I haven't done one, but I watch them all the time.
It's fun, you know. It's funny because my daughter's trying to call me while this is going on. I like how she calls and I don't answer, and she calls again, and now she'll probably call a third time and not get the hint that like maybe I'm busy doing something.
I have a 20 and a 22-year-old, and yeah, I completely understand. They do the same thing to me.
And it's never an emergency. It's like, let's see, I'm trying to tell her on the phone. Yeah, so what were we talking about? I was just going to tell you something before she interrupted me.
We were talking about creating TikTok videos.
Oh, yes. Okay. So back on track. So Von DiCarlo, also a good friend of mine and a really great comedian, she said to me that she just does it. She just goes on and has fun with it and doesn't overanalyze it. And that's what got me started. Like, just don't be nervous about it. Just go out. She does, like, you should check her out. She's super, super fun, super great. You should meet her. And she's doing really well on TikTok, and she just puts stuff out there. It's not, you know, it's not fancy or sophisticated. She's just having fun with it. So I think you should model yourself after that, which is what I did. I just decided to go for it. But I want to try one. I did. So a little information about me is when I was growing up, I wanted to be a Broadway dancer. That was my dream come true, and my parents didn't approve. So I went to college and eventually became a stand-up. So support your kids' dreams, because this is what happens.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I when I went to go do TikTok, all of them are dance videos. I was thinking, you know, I used to be a dancer. I could do this. 5 weeks into trying to learn this super lonely one, I just couldn't do it. Even my kids were looking at me like, you're a dancer? And then eventually I kind of gave up, and I did post it, but it was pretty pathetic. So I think I need to come up with like a simpler one, because I mean, literally, I don't know if I'm older and I just can't memorize the moves, or it was very fast. And my body's just old. It doesn't move as quickly. But yeah, I decided TikTok videos, unless it's like,
hey, Macarena. That is hilarious.
That one I could do.
It's funny how our kids can put us in check in some kind of way. Like, Mom, what are you doing over there?
They're great.
Yeah,
they're great on them. I'm jealous of my kids doing the TikToks. I'm like, I remember when my body moved like that.
That's how I look at my sons. I'm like, I remember when I was that age and I could do that then. Now they're like, I'm stronger than you, Mom. I'm like, you're supposed to be. You're a 20-year-old boy. You better be.
Well, one of the funniest things that someone told me is whenever I ask my kids to help me with something, they're always like, "Oh, you can figure it out. You know, you're so dumb." And I'm like, you know what? I taught you how to use a spoon. And that was pretty fucking easy. So don't make fun of me.
Kids.
So I, like, everyone always asks me, like, why don't you ask your kids to help you? I'm like, you're kidding me, right?
They said that to me too. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Not happening. Yeah. I can't even pay them to help me.
My kids don't either. Like when Snapchat came out, I'm like, I was asking everyone, can you help me? They're like, you have sons that are on Snapchat. I'm like, I'm not, no. I don't even want them to know I'm on here, okay? Yeah. I'm trying to catch them.
Oh, my kids hate that I like post. I can't, like I said, getting a picture approved of one of my kids to go on social media is probably more difficult than going through like the witness protection program. You know, like the steps that I have to go through, and like I have to take 1,000 pictures before one gets the approval to go. And then even then it's like, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So I stopped. I don't even like bother.
That is so awesome though. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to come and check out your club once it's open back up, of course.
Yeah. Are you staying in Ohio? Are you there just for COVID, or are you always in Ohio?
I'm always in Ohio. I actually live in Columbus.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And Dave Chappelle, he's in Ohio. He actually lives in Yellow Springs. It's like an hour from where I live. But I grew up 15 minutes. I grew up in Springfield, which is like 15 minutes from Yellow Springs. So I'm like, I'm thinking about going and stalking and seeing if I can run into Dave Chappelle this weekend.
Didn't he just film his special in Ohio?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that like by invitation only? Like, how do people know about that?
Yeah. So he sells his tickets on Ticketmaster, and they go like right away. It's 2 tickets for $150, but they go immediately. So he's doing outside comedy shows in like this big field, and the seating, he has it separated like 6 feet apart, but it's like the person that you come with, you're sitting next to them. Everyone has masks on. It's all outside. It's kind of cool. Very cool.
I'm trying to do that where I'm out in the Long Island, and I just haven't. It seems like a lot of work for me. Again, just a lot of work and effort, and in like 2 months it's going to be gone because it's going to be cold.
Yep. I said the same thing.
I spent so much time and energy getting the Zoom up, and now it's like, okay, no one wants to do Zoom anymore because it's so nice out. So that's why I sort of took a little bit of a break, and I'm concentrating on projects that I want to do now. Like writing and doing some more writing and editing of old projects. For the month of August is about me, all about me. This show's about me, and August is all about me.
Have you started making plans for 2021? Or thinking like what you want to do and how you want to make your comeback?
Yeah, it's weird because so I have 3 kids. And literally, they were supposed to, as of September, I'm going to be a complete empty nester because one's going to college, one is moving to Seattle, and one has been living home with us. It was supposed to move out in January, but that got postponed because of COVID. So it's going to be a weird time for me. So it's definitely going to be a time for me to reflect and decide what I want to do. But I definitely want to try to work on, I originally got into this and I was writing a television show about my life, Upper East Side Mom by day, stand-up comic by night. But that was before The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel came out. and so when it came out, I said that, I was like, literally, I vividly remember where I was. I was on vacation when I saw the first promotion for it. And I joked that it was a good thing my room was on the ground floor, because when I jumped out the window, I didn't die. I literally, it was like my heart just, that feeling when your heart like kind of goes into your stomach and you feel like it's coming out of your mouth. That's how I felt when I read the promo for it. So it kind of ruined my dreams for that. I ended up doing a one-woman show called The Miserable Mrs. Madison, which was a hybrid of the show and a story about my relationship with my father, and which people really loved. So that's one of my projects I'm working on, is rewriting it a little bit and seeing where I could go with it, and maybe making my television show into a movie.
There you go. And then you got to write the book to go with it,
I know. Everyone's telling me to write a book, and I'm too ADD, I think, to write a book. I don't think I could sit for long enough to get a whole book done. I could write a joke, no problem, and I could work on a screenplay. That was challenging. I took a class, and that really helped me get it done. But yeah, it's now August 4th, and I'm supposed to be reworking things and haven't even opened it yet.
I understand. I go through the same thing every single day. I'm like, I will start working on something else, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing this over here, and then I start doing that, and then I'm like, I need to go over here and do this. It's kind of hard.
I started it, but I can't find my final draft software. I know I bought it, and I don't really, and so that every time I go to open up the final draft, it's like, your software is expired, and blah blah blah. I'm like, I know I bought a new one, and I can't find it. So it's God's way of saying, don't do it, give it up.
He's saying just for the time. It's going to pop up. It's going to be in a very unfamiliar place. You're like, oh man, that happens to me all the time. I'm like, this is where I fucking left my shit. I didn't even think that. Like, when was I even standing over here? I always find my stuff in weird places, and I will look for it for days, and then I'm like, how did it end up over there?
It's funny because the other project I have is I do a podcast with my college roommate called Empty Nesters. And we were thinking that we wanted to come up with a product, and that's the product we should do, the Empty Nesters Code Finder.
There you go. There you go.
Keep all your codes for you. I mean, I know there are products like that, but we should market it just to like old women.
Yeah, I want to be a part of it. I'm an old woman and I'm an empty nester. But the funny thing is, so my youngest son, he left for college, and then he moved to Arizona. He plays college football. He's home for COVID, and I'm ready for this to be over. I really am. Yeah. He just came upstairs.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been like, I have to say, we say in our family, for me and my husband, it's been the silver lining, even though for my kids it's been a disaster, because the last thing they want to really be doing is hanging out with us. But it's been like found time that like we would have never had. So we've had, even though it's been tenuous and they're moody and maybe not so happy about being with us, it's just been it's in a way a gift, this couple of months with my family, because now they're going to be, they joke around that like dogs are going to be in psychotherapy after spending all this time with my family. When they leave, I can't decide if I'm going to need psychotherapy or like a huge party to celebrate.
Yeah. I cried. I cried on the way home, dropping him off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to be home alone. Then I came, and my oldest son ended up getting his own place. So I just gave him everything. And then I bought everything new and started over again. So now I'm like, I like it here now. And it's pretty fabulous.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we do the podcast. It's M for Madison T. Her last name's Tepper. It's Empty Nesters. And we've interviewed.
Okay, creative.
We've interviewed, I can't even count how many people. And we've yet to find anyone that's been upset about being an empty nester.
Yeah, I love it. Know where everything is at, and I go to get my juice. It's still in the refrigerator. Love it. Popsicles. I still eat fruit roll-ups and shit like that. So, and when you have kids around, they disappear. And it's really cool.
That's the one thing that's incredible about this pandemic is my food bill these past couple of months, feeding a family of 5, 3 meals a day. I'm at the store. I'm like, I'm going to buy enough food to last me the week. The bill is astronomical. And like 3 days later, there's nothing in the refrigerator.
Yeah. I'm
looking forward to not shopping. That's what I'm looking forward to, not shopping and concentrating on myself.
Yep, that's exactly what I did. I was like, I'm really saving money when he's not around, and they're boys.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll lose weight too. Yeah, my son. It's like
you don't need to lose any weight.
Oh, I do. I've put on so much weight. I've gained the COVID-19.
Please, you look great.
I'm sitting on it.
So one question I want to know is, if you were the president right now, how would the world be different?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's like a huge question. I think in general, a female president, whether it's me or anyone else, would be a good thing. I think, although I do a joke about female leaders, like everyone thinks we're so great. It's just that we haven't had enough time to screw things up. I think we are just as unethical and just as issue related as men. But I think we're much more inclusive and we listen more. I would be listening more. And there's just, I would, of course, address the disharmony in the world. That would be the first thing I do to bring people together. And I love doing anything related with women and women's rights. One of the things that I am super upset about is just the way women are treated on all different levels, from even just being told to shut up as a Karen, which I'm not. I don't think. I'm more of a bot, Felicia. Yeah, I'm more of a bot, Felicia. but just being, I just, from that to like sex trafficking and this whole, all these horrible things that are happening in women in all around the world. I just think, just being told, even though it's said in a funny way to shut up, it's just not right. And even though you don't like what we're saying, and even if it may be offensive, you should listen. You should listen and open up conversations with people that have different points of view than you. Because if you just shut them up, you're just going to back them in the corner and you're going to make them angrier and make them more obstinate, and they'll never change their point of view.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
But get those Karens and listen to them and try to explain to them. Listen, this world has been from Black Lives Matter to the Me Too movement. People were raised a certain way and raised to accept things a certain way that are not right. And the world needs to be retaught and reevaluated. And I think I have a real issue with a lot of this. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but this whole cancel culture and this whole, shaming people. I have a problem with it in a lot of ways because they were raised to believe that it was okay. Like the casting couch is a well-known term that everyone knew about and joked about and accepted. So now all of a sudden everyone realized that wasn't right. So let's punish those people. I don't know. I think we should work on solving the problem and moving forward, as opposed to going backwards and punishing people that were raised to a certain way, you know?
I agree.
It's like in a way, it's kind of, I mean, it's not like this, but it's like when you change the tax code, you don't make people pay all the taxes last year. I mean, that was the tax code. That's the way it worked. Now it's different, you know, and it wasn't right before or after, but, you know, I don't know. But that would be the first thing I would do. I would definitely want to start educating the world, and it has to start young. And I think we're really on our way, because the younger generation is every generation gets better and better. You know, my father and mother, you know, I joke around that I'm bad with names. My dad was bad with names. It's a genetic thing. Like, we have a name thing, and he used to call people things like Slim, Red, and names that would get you fired from SNL. But back then it was okay. You know, that was like, you know, and now I don't do that. But now I say things like, you know, I would say something like, "Oh, that's queer." And my kids will look at me and be like, "That is not politically correct," or retarded. You know, but we grew up.
Yeah.
You know, queer, there weren't even queer people when I grew up. Queer was kind of like, it was just weird, you know? Now it means something totally different. So every generation gets more and more politically correct. So I think we're on our way. I just think the world needs to not be so shut up, dismissive, and more welcome, let's discuss.
I love your answer. That's more than I ever thought about, you know? That's awesome.
I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate messages from it, but whatever.
Nah, that was a good answer. So I want to know, have you...
So should I run for president?
Yes, we need a woman. It's time. Because I voted for Hillary.
Felicia for president.
Yes, let's go, Felicia. Misha for vice president. So when do you plan to start booking for your comedy club again?
When it opens.
When it opens?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to probably start doing weekend shows again. I stopped doing my weekend stand-up shows, which were my more pro comedy shows, because things started to open up here, and you know, basically people are you know, in their homes on their computers all day long, because that's where their work is. And the last place I want to be on the weekend is on my computer. So I stopped the Zoom weekend shows. But I figure when fall and winter come and people are more stuck inside, I might resume booking some of those again. I am doing daytime shows. I'm doing a nap time happy hour for parents, because I feel like people are at home on their computers, and to take like an hour break and watch a show is easier. So some of the shows that I started doing at noon and 1 have been getting better viewerships than the evening ones. Because again, you're on your computer all day. At night, the last thing you want to do is get on your computer again. So
see, I love how creative you are, because you have like a lunchtime show. See, you're thinking like you're keeping it alive, you know?
I'm trying to figure out what the next big thing is.
Aren't we all? I needed to think, you're like, this is, please, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it goes back to the old way. You know, when the comedy club, like Funny Bones, are completely packed. And now the Funny Bone is open here in Columbus, Ohio, but everything is social distance. And it's like a 50-seat limit.
Have you been? Have you gone?
We went and checked out like how it was spaced, how it was set up, because we're used to it just being so tight. And yeah, like it's hard.
It's funny because comedy is an interesting thing, because laughter is definitely contagious, and being close together in tight quarters definitely helps the comedic process, I think. You know, I used to do a lunchtime comedy show, and it was during the day, so the room was lit up, and even, you know, just being able to see each other and not being in that dark room limited. People are self-conscious about laughing and won't let go as much because people can see them. So all these little things can change, and I wonder, just being spread out and not like all being packed tight in, I'm curious how that's going to change the dynamic. And it's going to be hard. You know, it's going to be hard for people. Are always saying, you know, some clubs won't open, they won't survive. And I think the clubs are going to be fine. The landlords are not going to kick them out, because they know they're good establishments, and who are they replacing them with now anyway?
True.
The problem is going to be when they open and they need to staff up and they only go 50%. That's where they're going to run into problems keeping their, you know, ends meeting, when their expenses have to be a base level. You need a manager, you need a booker, you need a, you know, and then you need to pay rent, but then you can only do it at 50% capacity. That's when they're going to start bleeding money.
It's like, what happened? Like, why did it come to this? Oh, it's a headache, because now we all have to, that's one of my problems, is we don't have comedy shows right now. That's pretty much how we create most of our content. We go out, we film the comedians, and yeah, now it's none of that. So I'm doing Zoom chats.
I have lots of Zoom shows for you.
I'll join.
But you know, it's hard. It's hard for everyone. I was talking to one comedian who had told me that he's been on stage every night, sometimes 2 to 3 times a night, for the past like 25 years. and he has not been on stage in 3 months. So I can't imagine, what these people are going through. It's their whole, being has been pulled out from underneath them. So it's heartbreaking. But on the flip side, it's also very heartbreaking. My daughter graduated from high school, and she didn't have a prom, she didn't have a graduation, she didn't have a closing ceremony, she didn't even have closure. They literally were going on spring break, and they said, we're doing spring break early, we'll see you guys in 3 weeks. And they all left school thinking they'd be back in 3 weeks, like stuff in their lockers, no goodbyes. No senior week. My son was a senior in college. So there's been so much loss by so many people. And I don't know when it's going to get back to normal. I mean, she's going to college. It's not going to be the same. And I just read an article in the New York Times today, which is so depressing. Like, we're all waiting for like the vaccine. And they're like, well, how do you know the vaccine is going to work?
Yeah.
It might not work. It might, they've been trying to come up with a vaccine for malaria for 30 years. Instead, no vaccine, so this could be years. And I don't know when people are going to be comfortable. I mean, so people are doing outdoor comedy, and people are doing outdoor comedy here, and they're loving it. So that's the positive. People are missing it. People want to laugh. People need to laugh. They're excited to laugh. So we are being creative, and we will figure things out. But I don't think normal is going to be for anyone for a while.
A while, yeah.
And this might be the new normal, and that's what scares me. I still walk around every once in a while, and I look around. My daughter is like, I just can't believe that I'm wearing a mask, and this is my life.
It's unbelievable. Like, I forget my mask every time. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go back to my car, and it's just
well, it's funny. I'm like addicted to, like most people, addicted to my phone. So I'll be on. My kids make fun of me all the time. So when I'm on my phone, like I zone out, and like I don't hear them. I don't do anything. And a lot of times I'll be like texting, and I'll get into the elevator, and I'll be holding the mask in my hands, and I'll get out of the elevator, and I'll be like, ooh, and someone's like waiting to get in, and I'm like, ooh, I forgot to put my mask on. It's like in my hand. But yeah, I mean, and people are getting nasty about it.
Oh yeah. I was at the grocery store, and I heard, fuck you, bitch. And I'm like, where's this coming from? And an old lady went up to a couple, and you could tell they just ran in to get ice cream and leave. And this lady was like yelling at them. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's like, where's your mask? And I'm like, oh, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't get all these like people yelling that I'm not wearing a mask to come into your store. And I'm like, okay, I can understand getting mad about not wearing your mask outside because you're outdoors and that's your civil liberties. But this is a private corporation. Clubs can decide who can even enter the club. Why can't a Trader Joe's, make rules as to who can, you can't walk in without shoes on and naked, with the mask. So like, get over it. This isn't your civil liberties. This is a private organization that's making rules. If we're a park or whatever, which they're doing for them anyway too, they're saying if you're within 6 feet, you have to walk around. Which interesting is, this whole quarantining thing, how they're starting to enforce that. Like someone told me they're knocking on people's doors and saying you should be quarantining. It's bizarre. Yeah.
Oh, right? Wow. Oh gosh. Thank God I'm home most of the time, so.
I know, like I'm taking my daughter to college when I come back after quarantine, and everyone's like, oh my God, you sure you want to do that? I'm like, I'm not seeing anyone anyway. Like, what am I doing? I'm on Zoom. I'm like, whatever.
People are crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm anxious to get back to normal, whatever normal is going to be. And in the meantime, I'm just maybe working on a couple of projects and I think that's what a lot of comedians are doing. They're finding projects and doing, like, I feel sorry for the people that have to read screenplays and television shows because they're going to get like their mailboxes flooded in a couple of months from all these creative types just staying home and writing for months. I have all these people like, I wrote a book, I wrote a screenplay, I wrote this.
And it's funny you say that because I have a few comedians writing for me now, so it works out. And then one of them tweeted, they're like, don't get bored, you can blog, you can write, you can do it. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it is true. There are other platforms out here related to comedy that you can. That's so funny.
You need another writer, let me know.
Okay. Oh, Felicia, I thank you so much for your time. But before we go, I want to know your websites. Can you plug your websites for us?
Sure. So FeliciaMadison.com is my personal website, which pretty much could get you to anything that I'm doing. Either my personal shows, my F Comedy Club shows, which are at fcomedyclub.com, but Felicia Madison goes to that. And Empty Nesters is on there as well, which is available on iTunes and Spotify. So mostly anything you want to find out about me is on FeliciaMadison.com or fcomedyclub.com. And Instagram, TikTok, and all that's Felicia Madison Comedian. So that's me.
Yay. I can't wait to add that TikTok video in.
I'm going
to check it out as soon as we hang up from here.
I have to come up with more now. I have to come up with more drug material.
Yeah. 140,000. Like, that's awesome, You got a good little following. So
yeah, I think it was 100, maybe 130. I don't know.
That's still a good number.
It's going up. I don't know. And it's just that one, which is really weird. but whatever. I have to post another one soon.
That's awesome.
Well, it's such a pleasure to meet you as well.
Thank you
for keeping the word out on the comedy community.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And if there's anything I can help you with, holler at me anytime.
Well, I have 3 kids that need some help.
And I have 2 that I want to just completely push away.
Not to mention my husband. You want him?
Oh, that's one thing someone just asked me before we stopped. They said, Misha, do you ever plan to get married? I'm saying, I've never even thought about that.
Really? You've never been married?
Never.
Wow, lucky you.
I know. I don't really look forward to it. I don't know. I think it's 2020 and times are changed, and and I watch too much TV. So yeah.
I was talking to this friend of mine, and she's been with this guy for a really long time. And I'm like, are you gonna get married? And she's like, I don't want kids, and I make more money than him. Why should I get married?
Yeah, see, like I feel like I'm great by myself. I make my own money, and I've always had my own place. Like I've literally been on my own since I was 18, and I've always lived by myself.
And I think that's the reason why men try to suppress us. Because they know we don't need them.
Yeah.
But they need us.
That's true. Very true. That's why I said I'm okay all alone. I love it. I'm at peace.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine by myself. But unfortunately, no. I love my husband. I do.
He pays
the bills.
Oh yeah, he's a winner. He's a keeper.
Yeah, so no, it's all good. Well, hopefully you'll see me live one day. Alive and live.
For sure I will. I'm gonna make sure of that. For sure.
Maybe I'll come to Ohio and perform at your club.
Funny Bone. Yeah.
Funny Bone, yeah. Because that's one of the only clubs that's open now. I know a lot of people are heading there.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring HinJews there.
Yeah, and I can hook you up with the owner and everything. So we'll work that out for sure.
Yeah, because I told you my co-producer, who's by the way killing it on TikTok and in comedy. She's had like over 1 million views. She's, like I told you, she's originally from there, so she has a lot of family. So I could hook you up with her.
Okay.
She's a firecracker.
That will work. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
All right, Felicia, it was so nice talking to you, and good luck. Congratulations to your daughter going to college and your empty nest. That's coming soon.
Well, hopefully. Okay, now you got to say bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye.
Bye.